The 5 what?
Oldest airlines in the world. Go. Do you know, actually my notes are in this damn same pink purple colour.
Brett, what's going on there? Right?
Okay. Well, we got to stop him from hitting the table. So it was going to be fluffy handcuffs. But the fluffy handcuffs...
Did Val break those last night?
No, the fluffy handcuff shop wasn't open.
Fluffy handcuff shop.
But yeah, I'm not going to say where that ribbon comes from.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
So that's to
Not
stop
from
Brett
here.
from tapping the... He's a very... he's like a politician.
Yeah.
Well, not our politicians, because they
think
don't...
Brett-
I should. Yeah.
Brett's-
I think I should go into politics.
he thinks he's Lars Ulrich from Metallica the way he's bashing his table.
You know what? You don't understand what it's brought to this whole podcast, eh?
It's
That
added...
whole-
It's
it's a
Drum and bass.
the drum and bass.
added a whole further element. Guys, episode 10.
Man.
Unbelievable.
Eh?
We're celebrating today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're
Some
going
of us
for
are
lunch.
celebrating, some of us are in prison. What are you talking about?
Let's make it... Well, I thought about, who's going to pay for lunch today? Because it's our celebratory lunch. So we've tried to improve every episode. And, when we listened to those first ones, we were saying absolutely... I don't know how many times we said it. So
Yeah.
maybe whoever says absolutely today...
Oh, it's too late.
has...
Twice we've said.
no, but from now...
From now. Okay, deal.
Deal.
100%. Yeah.
No. Ryan, do you think the aviation industry will recover?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on speed, man.
Yeah, are you ready?
I'm not on speed. I mean, I'm just up to speed this morning.
Well, talking of speed...
Yeah, clearly.
Talking of speed, I must just make a correction. I was listening to some of the older podcasts the other day, and when I was speaking about the report from the Pakistan crash, I said the pilots got high on final approach. And what I meant was they
Did
got
you
high on
only
final
realise
approach.
that?
Just correcting it there.
At
But
least the
yeah.
body temperature can go down. Now that I got out of those.
Hey, it's
I know,
not the
don't-
right time in the world to be talking about raised body temperatures, but
It seems like we do tend to have lots of faux pas, don't
yeah.
we?
I'm just here to correct you.
Captain COVID.
Captain COVID, yeah. Don't mention COVID
Thanks
today.
for letting that one slip again.
Talking
Really.
about COVID though, you see what Emirates have done. They've offered to pay for anyone's COVID costs and their medication when they if they travel with Emirates. So that's quarantine costs as well, and medication, and any medical costs that come
Yeah.
if you catch COVID while you're on holiday. So Emirates will buy you a pack of Strepsils.
Imported from Joburg.
Yeah, to deal with the COVID. But another speech last night, fellow South African speech, another one.
Yeah, from our esteemed leader, President Ramaphosa.
Yes, yeah. No, she writes she does the script.
Yeah.
He just reads it.
He reads it.
That's
Yeah.
why I said I get my lines crossed. Not sure who's running the show. It's
Well, I don't know if anybody knows who's running the show. I mean, SAA, bailout. Tito Mboweni comes in and says no money for bailout.
That's
So
a roller coaster.
what
I mean,
the hell is happening?
from one week to the next, the story changes. It comes out all guns blazing. This is what they're going to do with South African Airways, and then now there's no money.
watching the news on SAA is a bit like being a spectator at Wimbledon. The story's going.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Backwards and forwards.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And there's no end in sight, really.
Mm-mm.
I see he mentioned last night in the speech that we're making the application to the IMF. You would assume that money is going to be used for, some of it's going to be used for South African Airways, but I'm not so sure that they've ever made a finance application before. And, there isn't a box to tick to buy massive debt-ridden airline. It's not. I'm not so sure the IMF are going to agree with that. So we'll see.
The IMF are very strong in investing, but they want their pound of flesh. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
So if they do get that type of funding, there's going to be stringent terms, and that's going to be, we will probably never know what those terms are.
Mm-mm.
But I think it's going to, it's a noose.
Let's just hope that the esteemed leadership knows how to read the fine print.
Well, let's.
RTFP.
Did you manage to? You drove down to Pretoria the other day to fetch your UIF documents from SA Express, eh?
Yeah.
Nice, eh?
Charming.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost inclined to say that I would have expected a lot more, but then again, who am I kidding?
What were you expecting?
Adams and Adams.
Not quite.
Not quite.
But anyway, you got your UIF stuff, so now you can go and stand in a line for 3.5 days and then be told you've got the wrong paperwork and go back and start again.
And there's no cash available.
And there's no cash available, not unless the IMF come on board.
But you know what? I'll go stand in the queue for 3.5 days. At least I'll take my picnic bag and my iPhone, and I'll listen to the last 10 episodes of the Brown Air podcast to catch up.
Yeah, which is now available on Amazon Music.
Amazon Music and Ghana
From India, one of the fastest growing podcast platforms in the world. So that's cool.
Yeah, that was a seriously good surprise. That being invited to something like that.
Yeah, I tell you what, guys.
And you know what? That's another learning. I never realized that we had to be invited to go to another platform, but those were never available to us before.
And I suppose there's more and more platforms that are going to become available, and obviously our job to jump on it and expand our viewership, I suppose.
Let me say this. I think gravity's going to have a hard time keeping us down, boys.
Yeah, Ryan always acts like this when we've got a business lunch or afternoon lunch planned. He gets a bit fired up.
Yeah, but it's a very socially distanced lunch. We're all going to have lunch in separate locations.
Yes, with
and
no
just
alcohol.
Zoom.
Yeah.
That's
the latest way.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Right.
But we're going to jump in a taxi with 100 other people and go there.
With the windows open.
What's with the story with Come?
Oh, it looks a bit promising
a
there,
bit
right?
a bailout.
Yeah, I was reading, apparently the CEO, Ronald Standers, released a bit of a media update. Sounds like they've got an investor that's keen to jump in there and help them get started. Sounds like they might even start up operations sooner than planned. I think it was originally November. And according to this article, they were going to go from 27 down to 13 airplanes. They might have 20 now. So yeah.
Well, that's great news for the South
Positive
African aviation industry and all those Come pilots that have been at home, obviously stressed like everyone else. So that's fantastic news.
Got a lot of mates there that I think will, they could obviously use the good news, and holding thumbs that it comes right for them.
At this stage, everyone that I've spoken to that has travelled, everyone seems to be travelling on Safair. I don't know, they seem to own a massive chunk of this market that's flying during the lockdown. I don't know what you guys have picked up, but every time if I know someone's travelled, I picked up the phone and said, "Hey, what was it like?" No, Safair was great. So everyone seems to be travelling on Safair, so they're doing it right.
Yeah,
I think during the lockdown there was a lot of silence. Airlines were quiet. Nobody was marketing, nobody was advertising. The only one I do remember is Safair. No. They were out there, they were talking, they were doing interviews, they were letting people know what was happening in the airline. And I don't know if that's the exact reason why now we're just hearing about Safair and not hearing about any of the other airlines that are supposedly flying. I don't even know what other ones are flying. I just know Safair.
They seem to own such a big market share at the moment, and maybe with this way it's going to go. Obviously, they don't have a business class or anything like that, and this model that they're using, it's low cost, but it's comfortable, and they were always big on time performance. So if you want to leave on time, you fly Safair.
They offer a great product. They give you value, and they've dominated from the get-go. I mean, they came out from the middle of nowhere, new kid on the block, boom, and they've just accelerated. And I think they've got a good team, great dynamics behind them. And I'm looking forward to seeing a privately owned airline in this country really exceed, or excel rather.
No, I think SAF is a great product. You're right. Icelandic. Icelandic.
How do you create staff cohesiveness and dedication to an airline when you fire all your cabin crew, 3 days later hire them back, but at the same time those 3 days those pilots have to take care of what the cabin crew completed in that role? How is that possible?
Let me tell you, I think I know what happened there. They misunderstood the whole concept of transferable skills.
All right.
You see now?
Oh,
So they're like, no, well,
okay.
pilots might as well just, when they're not flying, be cabin crew.
Yeah.
But completely misunderstood that being a cabin crew member isn't actually a transferable skill. That is a gift that you are born with.
Let me tell
to be
you,
able to deal with passengers.
being a cabin crew member, we've said it before on the show. We were at SA Express for a long time. Those cabin crew dealt with what they dealt with on a daily basis was extraordinary. They earned every little cent that
Exactly.
they earned there. So that'll be interesting. Pilots working in the cabin. Brett, you're right. Let's be serious about it. It's a little bit, as you say, for boosting staff morale to go and fire your cabin crew, which I assume most are probably female, and then to replace them with pilots. I don't know. That seems ludicrous.
Well, Ryan, what you said, the interesting thing is it's not about being serving people food. They're there from a safety perspective.
Exactly.
So anything goes wrong on that plane, those cabin crew are the ones you're going to look to as a passenger. You don't look to the pilot. The pilot is doing his thing in the cockpit, and you don't even think of that. But you following what that cabin crew is doing. So the value is just. It's like they didn't understand the value of cabin crew.
And on top of that, we know what pilots are like. So if something goes wrong, you're going to have pilots in the cabin wondering what the pilots up front or how they're sorting it out, and you're going to have this kind of like...
The way I see it is something like this. Imagine a pilot giving the passenger an emergency briefing at the emergency exit row. You're used to the cabin crew, do you mind if I explain to you this is how you operate the emergency exit? But the pilot's version is probably going to just come out like it would normally.
Which won't be so eloquent.
In the event of emergency before V1, we are going to reject the takeoff. Retard the thrust levers, apply the brake, max reverse thrust, stop the aircraft and assess the situation. Passengers going to be like,
what's this guy talking about?
Yeah.
I suppose everyone's trying something, but not so sure about that.
I like the Helvetic.
Yeah, tell me a bit about that, Ivan.
What they're doing is, we've all have pop-up stores. We've all heard of that. Suddenly you walk in the shopping centre, there's a new little store in the middle. So they're doing pop-up flights, which is brilliant. So they're changing the destination all the time. And at the last minute they give, okay, we're flying to London, we're flying to Bulgaria, wherever you can suddenly book cheap flights and just shoot to a destination. I think it's brilliant. Something completely different.
Thinking out the box, I suppose that's
Yeah.
it's not about it's about survival as well as taking that next step to see if you can take your airline to the next step. I mean, everyone's trying whatever they can. Good idea. Those figures, there was quite a nice video report The Economist put out. I saw it on LinkedIn the other day. The actual figures, 94% fewer travelers right now than there were in 2019. 94% fewer travelers. They say business travel starting to pick up. It's not going to be as easy anymore to travel, so it's not going to be a case of all right, you need to travel, today, buy a ticket, and you fly this evening. April 2020, this was quite interesting. 31 million passengers, right? That was last seen in 1970. 31 million passengers, last seen in 1970.
Jeez.
So back to 1970 levels. 200,000 passengers went through Heathrow, and that is less than what normally goes through Heathrow in a single day. That's just in April.
Yeah, that is.
That's remarkable. So you basically, in a single day, you're getting Yeah, it's incredible. IATA reckons several years to recover. China still 21% below normal levels. USA picked up a little bit. Europe 75% lower than it was in 2019. Those are all the travel statistics. We've mentioned this before, Brett. You mentioned it the other day. $1.6 trillion is what the market makes on tourism. $1.6 trillion. It's a massive industry.
I don't think when we look at the airline industry, we always think of the airlines. That's it. But the side industries. Look at OR Tambo, that international airport. All those duty-free shops, they are all affected. All the VIP lounges are affected. The restaurants, the customs. It's just a massive market, and It's going to take a long time to recover, but it's going to recover. There's no doubt about it. But the impact is huge.
Yeah,
impact is massive.
It's relying on cargo at the moment. A lot of cargo flying going around, unless it catches fire.
You see that
Ethiopian
777 in Shanghai
What
caught
happened
fire.
there?
Don't know. Nothing.
Just something in the cargo.
Yeah, I don't think there's an official report out yet, but probably some dangerous goods in the cargo caught fire, and that's goodbye to that 777.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh, there's lots of them lying around.
Lots of them lying around at the moment. At least no one was hurt in that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But talk about retired. You see the last KLM and Qantas, the last 747s.
And
BA
chucked all their 747s.
Yeah. That's sad.
I was thinking about
Queen
it
of the
last
skies.
night. I mean, a couple of years back we would be going for an interview, reading that book, Handling the Big Jets, by Gary V. Bristow. You're not going to see another 4-engine jets flying around. All the A380s are getting boneyarded as well. So I think they're going to have to bring out another book on how to start your microlight very soon.
Yeah, but a bit sad. Did you see what that Qantas pilot managed to do?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic.
The logo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What was that? A kangaroo or a springbok?
That was
Kangarook.
Well, at least he
It
got
definitely wasn't the William Webb Ellis Trophy. That's what
no. Well, at least he got to finish that flight. 2 of Ryanair flights had to be finished with military jet escorts in 1 week.
What happened there?
Bomb scares on
Bombs.
both. One in the UK and one in, I think it was Denmark. Swedish country, somewhere there. Yeah. So they think it's some 51-year-old guy who's issuing bomb threats on certain flights. I don't know.
gotten bored under lockdown.
This is a good idea. What haven't I done today?
Create a bomb scare. Hello?
Isn't
Sorry.
I said to Ryan, Ryan,
I'm going to give you one of those gag things.
I want you to be authentic, be yourself, but just tone it down a little bit, But unfortunately, this is, knowing Ryan like I do, this isn't toned down a little bit. But no joke. Well, talking of Ryanair, carrying on with Ryanair. That boss of theirs is not my favourite guy in the world.
I don't think he's the favourite amongst the pilots either.
Every time he has an issue with a few pilots at a particular base, he just cuts that base. It just happened now in Germany. The futures of 3 bases in Germany under big threat because the pilots wouldn't agree to a pay deal. Look, I suppose it's a two-way thing. The pilots right now don't have much bargaining power.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I suppose there's different ways to handle it.
Yeah, no, it's a two-way street.
It's when you have the strength and the power that he has, you can either wield it ethically or unethically. And if you are paying your pilots so badly,
can you get those handcuffs back there again?
I was just about it. I'm being watched like a hawk here. So.
Behind his back.
I mean, so the A word hasn't popped up yet, but maybe.
No, the agreement is one agreement. You can't change the agreement.
Yeah. I mean, if it's
3/4 of the way through.
If it's a tie at the end of the game, then we're going for the
Yeah, we'll see.
This will be the tiebreak.
That'll just be the tie. What are you talking about?
He's the
Closer to home again, business rescue practitioners of South African Airways called a creditors meeting. When was that? I think that's today.
today. Yeah.
That's today.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want more money again? Or? This business rescue story seems to... Sorry, I'm going to say what I think. It seems to be an absolute joke. Does it work? Has it ever worked, Brett?
No.
You know more about it. I mean, it didn't work with us at Saks. It was an absolutely abysmal attempt. What? Not even an attempt to keep the airline afloat. It was more just a facade of we doing something to show the public that we're actually doing something. They did nothing. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
SAA seems to be pathetic as well. They've made a hell of a lot of money and don't seem to have done an awful lot.
That's the one thing I don't agree with business rescue guys is if you should get paid on success, not on hell. I'm getting paid a fortune on a monthly basis, so let me drag this out as long as I possibly can. The Saks business rescue, we heard nothing, we saw nothing, and there was a zero outcome from it.
And it wasn't just the business rescue practitioner's fault. I mean, DPE just didn't play ball, which they never have. Did you see that article? DPE, this thing was on News 24. They mentioned the money that was given to Saks. I think it was 2018 or whenever it was for that bailout. They said they're not sure what the company used those funds for. Well, what they used those funds for was very stipulated in the conditions of the agreement of getting those funds in the first place. Those funds were there to pay back the government guarantees and nothing else. Saks could not use that money for any form of operational costs, sorting the aircraft out, buying spares, nothing. That was purely there to pay back the government their own money. And on top of that, they go on the media and say, they're not so sure what happened with that money. If that's how they think the IMF is going to behave with this money that they due to get, they're in for a big surprise, because that's not how it works. You kind of got to know what your money's being used for.
Yeah. I think these guys are so used to operating in this realm of smoke and mirrors. And now they want to now they want to revive SAA or start an SAA 2.0 or whatever, and it's just going to be more of the same. What a joke, man, really.
Unfortunately, it is going to be more of the same. When you have the biggest creditors are the banks and the government. I mean, everybody else is going to lose out in that deal, even in SAA. Hopefully, if they're able to get the IMF funding, at least people will have jobs. But we're going to be in the exact same boat 12 months down the line, another 12 months, more bailout, unless true management comes in and quite honestly has to be cutthroat. Otherwise, what are you operating a business for?
Yeah, you're just going to end up being more such
it's
as
a token.
punishment.
And look at the competition now. Qatar's bought into Rwanda.
Yep.
You got that's going to be a big hub in Africa. That's going to be a massive hub in Africa. You've already got Ethiopian, and now you're going to have South African competing right at the bottom of the continent.
South Africa's not competing, and they never will. They don't have the ability. When you compare Rwanda and Ethiopian, those airlines are run unbelievably well. I've met both the CEOs, and those ladies are Rwanda, who runs Rwanda Air. She is phenomenal.
Well, it's government-owned airlines, but they trust privately employed individuals to run the airlines and run it efficiently.
Correct, yeah.
It's the only way it works.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
Hopefully these guys will.
But we'll see. Look, I hope more than anything South African Airways gets the money, and but it is run properly, because it does open up, certainly in our industry, keeps some jobs secured, and there's also a prospect of then flying for the national carrier, and it's good for everyone, but it's got to be run properly. And I'm sorry, but obviously we've just got a very sour taste with having been involved with SA Express for so long, and just to see the way that's all been handled, that I'm not holding out a huge amount of faith, to be honest.
No, I think we've all been bitten so hard by this. We need to see true
leadership.
out of this before we start believing anything ever again.
Well, it's like Cyril said last night: no theft, no wastage, no mismanagement of public funds. That's not quite the SOP of South African Airways and SA Express. But maybe they've turned a corner. Let's see. Maybe the coronavirus, maybe the coronavirus has made the change.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Yeah. Well, we've been talking for 27 minutes already.
And you keep time, obviously, but you still haven't answered my question.
What's that?
What are the 5 oldest airlines in the world? Come on.
British Airways?
Yeah.
No.
Qantas? Was one of
One.
them?
That's one.
Okay.
Lufthansa?
No.
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 Who else?
Come on, guys. Maybe what we should do is if anybody has
Seme.
the answer. Seme, definitely.
One of the most robust airlines in the world.
Definitely the most robust airline of the world.
So what anybody who knows the 5 airlines, email Brian, and whoever comes with the first answer, the right answer of the 5, get a Brian Air hamper.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Great. What's on the Brian Air hamper?
I don't know. We're going to figure it out. We're going to have a Brian Air mask. We're going to have T-shirts. What else? What else is in there?
We need to get those masks from Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry guys, before we quit, I just remembered something now. But
We got time. You don't have to
Okay,
rush.
cool.
Hank, relax it.
Hey, man. I wanted to give a quick shout out to a little youngster in Dubai, Logan, who's 12 years old, who
criticised our lighting. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Logan?
Well, actually, Logan was the one who highlighted the issue we
Yeah.
know is
Well-
very relevant.
What did he say?
he pointed out some shortcomings. He said, he's quite thrilled that we've got this green screen thing waxed. It's
What
very
green
impressive.
screen?
Sorry, I mean,
What was that?
hey.
Brett.
Do you need a muzzle?
He's buying lunch. Eh?
You know what? You can say the A word. You may as well just say it now.
Fine, I'll just buy lunch. I'm the easy way out. I'll put that one down to cognitive lockup. Anyway. Well, Logan, he points out a few of our technical issues. We are working on that, Logan, and shout for the support. Enjoy the rest of the shows, and we'll get this.
And we're moving into a new studio soon.
Yeah.
Better lighting, better sound. We've
Yeah.
got it now.
Going
Now
up in
that
the world, eh?
now that we're competing with Joe Rogan and Gary V and the likes.
Yeah.
They're stressing.
You
can
think so?
see it. Yeah. No, you can see it.
That's why I was surprised that Cyril decided to talk on a Thursday night at 8 p.m., knowing that we do this show 8 a.m. Friday morning, because he wanted to push that vital content for the country out.
And he knows it's only
Before.
going to go through us.
With all the goings on, I mean, it's critical that we heard about the schools and the fact that they're going to be closed for another week.
Yeah.
It's very important to close it for 1 week.
Alcohol, cigarettes, and the rest of the economy don't hold as much value. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that too much because
I heard something I saw something which was amazing. In a shop in Joburg, you can buy a packet of Lion matches for $50 and you get a free packet of cigarettes with
no
it.
way. Don't tell Ryan with it.
I thought that was so classic.
Well, they run out of everything. They can't give us anything else, so they might as well give you your kids back for 4 weeks. I mean,
Yes,
Yeah.
there
that's
we
the way
go.
government sees
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Cyril.
Yeah.
Well, as always, we mentioned earlier, we're now on Amazon Music. What's Ghana? Ghana as well.
Which I'm very impressed with. 150 million listeners on Ghana.
It's a
out of
massive
India.
market in India.
Yeah, big shout out to the Ghana market in India.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of Indian supporters as well. Obviously, a lot of Indian clients have made their way through Sim Era over the past few years. So, shout out to all those guys as well.
Yeah.
And have a look at Amazon Music. I'm going to have a look myself. As always, we're pushing the YouTube side of it. The subscriptions on YouTube. You've got to subscribe What does subscribing do, Ryan? It alerts you when a new episode is out.
Exactly. Doesn't cost anything.
It also boosts our ego by a significant amount. So if you want to prop up the egos of a couple of unemployed pilots right now, then subscribe to the show.
Please.
Even one subscription makes a difference.
It does.
Brian, what was it in the weekend?
It was hovering on 96 or...
And you said if I wake up tomorrow morning with 96 subscribers, I'm going to kill myself.
Ryan wanted to take a lead Disprin, I think. If it was.
Unfortunately, I found a few cell phones lying around, so subscribe button got
just
tapped.
that little red rectangular button. Just got to touch it.
That's it.
It.
Subscribe and do us a favor. And we want to support you as well. So make your way to the website as well. You can contact us through there. And if you've got a question, or you want to even be on the show, or you want us to promote your product, please send us a message. Always great chatting. Not going to waffle much more because there was a lot of waffling last night, but we're going to go off and celebrate our 10th episode and have a nice lunch together. And thanks for your support and everything else, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thanks, man. It's been a blast for the last 10. Here's to the next
couple of hundred.
990.
Cool.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Well, that's all for this week, folks. Thanks for listening and for your continued support. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and pass the show on to your friends, your families, and your colleagues. If you'd like to get in touch with us, my email address is in the show details. Stay positive, keep the passion alive, and we'll see you next week. Cheers for now.